Peter, I just want to congratulate the team at Sky News here, Peter Stefanovic and others, for the two-part documentary last week on MH370. But the media salivated over the admission by the former Chief Commissioner of the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, emphasis on former, who acknowledged that he'd refused to accept that the captain hijacked his own aircraft and flew it to the end, therefore murder-suicide. Martin Dolan, the former Chief Commissioner of the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, conceded in the documentary that new evidence, and I'm not sure about that, and I'll come to that in a moment, new evidence increasingly points to the Bureau's theory that MH370 was piloted was wrong. But Mr Dolan last week on this station went so far as to say, and he was the boss of this outfit, ATSB, charged with investigating all of this and searching for Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. Here he was last week saying that independent aviation experts, such as the veteran pilot Byron Bailey, who argued from the outset that the pilot was in charge to the end and it was murder-suicide, Dolan now admits that the government dismissed the views of such experts. They didn't say why. That ought to be the subject of another inquiry. Why did the then Transport Minister Warren Truss take no notice of those who knew? They were looking in the wrong place. And it wasn't cheap. The search cost hundreds of millions of dollars, our money. And now they're saying Byron Bailey, a pilot who had flown many hours on a similar aircraft, was right when he talked murder-suicide. So the $200 million search failed because they were listening to the wrong people and searching in the wrong place. Why? Well, I don't want to pump up my own tyres here, but I did at the outset read everything about this. And as you must do in this game, I talked to the experts. From day one, I interviewed Byron Bailey on my radio program, to the point, most probably, of boring people rigid. But it was $200 million of our money. And it just seemed that no one wanted to listen to Byron Bailey and others. So I thought I'd share with you tonight some extracts. Have a listen to these extracts from my radio program. This is way back in 2016. The first extract is from the 28th of January 2016. And this is Byron Bailey speaking after me. Listen to this.
The dominant opinion put forward by commercial airline pilots who know this scene backwards and other aviation experts is that the plane was hijacked by its captain. Why does the federal government continue to ignore the fact over and over again that there is clear evidence that the most likely scenario is that the captain, Zaharie Ahmed Shah, hijacked his own plane?
It appears beyond stupidity because some of the stuff that they have come out with in their reports that just don't make any sense at all aerodynamically, and it obviously hasn't had any input from any pilots. It just means that the search area has been in the wrong place.
Well, there you are. Now, then on the 20th of April 2016, Byron Bailey asks on my program the question, who went with this nonsense that the pilot flew the plane to a controlled ditching? Listen to this.
Zaharie Ahmed Shah hijacked his own plane. Now, of course, if the loss of MH370 was a political statement by the pilot, it'd be a bad look.
Who made the decision to go with the unresponsive pilot theory?
Yeah.
That didn't make sense.
Well, there you are. Didn't make sense. Well, then on the 26th of July 2016, when the Australian Transport Safety Bureau advising the government persisted with their refusal to accept the expert opinion that we were ventilating on my program, that the captain hijacked his own aircraft and flew it to the end. This is July 26, 2016.
The FBI have this evidence that the captain deliberately brought down the flight. Was that evidence passed on to Australian authorities?
Well, if I was told 2 years ago, I'm sure they were, but were they? And if they were told, why didn't they then change the whole pattern of the search to fly along the track that the FBI got out of the captain's own computer?
Yeah, well, all that, Peter, prompts the question why, way back in 2016, were the views of people like Byron Bailey, an aviation expert and a pilot, why were they ignored then and suddenly embraced today as gospel? I think that's the question that is still unanswered. They were searching in the wrong place. Hang on. They were searching in the wrong place and they wasted $200 million of our money.